Marie Curie. The role of women in science has often been written as a footnote, a brief mention of their contributions to humanity's great advances. However, the story of one woman challenges this idea. Her life was not just a footnote, but a whole chapter, written with the lasting ink of courage and perseverance. Let me tell you the story of an extraordinary woman, a pioneer whose determination and brilliance changed the course of science forever. A woman who defied the norms of her time and opened doors for future generations. I am talking, of course, about the amazing Marie Curie. It all began on a cold November night in 1867 in Warsaw, Poland, then under the rule of the Russian Empire. In the Skłodowski family, a group of Polish intellectuals and patriots, Marie Salomea was born, who would later be known as Marie Curie. From a young age, her curious and eager mind was nurtured by her father, Władysław, a passionate teacher of physics and math. Despite the restrictions imposed by the Russian regime, which banned the teaching of Polish culture, Władysław made sure to educate his children in their native language and in the sciences. In a small homemade lab, young Marie learned the basics of physics and developed a deep love for knowledge. But life was not easy for this young Polish girl. Poverty and discrimination for being a woman were constant obstacles in her path. At the age of 10, she entered a boarding school for girls, where her talent shone brightly. Years later, she graduated with the highest honors, a gold medal, showing that her destiny was tied to the pursuit of knowledge. However, higher education was not available to women in Poland. Frustrated, she joined the Flying University, a secret institution where students met in private to study and keep Polish nationalism alive. During this time, Marie and her sister Bronisława made a pact that would change their lives. One would work to pay for the other's studies at the prestigious University of Paris, and then they would switch roles. With a heart full of hope, Marie became a governess, saving every penny to achieve her dream of studying in the French capital. Finally, in 1891, at the age of 24, she arrived in Paris. The young Polish woman, alone in a foreign city, fought against extreme poverty and the cold winter. She lived in a tiny attic, sleeping wrapped in all her clothes to stay warm, and survived on a minimal diet. But nothing could dim her passion for knowledge. With unwavering determination, she enrolled at the University of Paris, attending classes and working as a tutor in the afternoons to pay for her studies. Her perseverance paid off, and in 1893 she earned her degree in physics, opening the door to her remarkable scientific career. But the story doesn't end there. A year later, in 1894, she met a man who would change her life forever, Pierre Curie. This brilliant French physicist became not only her life partner, but also her closest colleague and collaborator. Together, they formed an unstoppable team, exploring the mysteries of radioactivity, a phenomenon newly discovered by Henri Becquerel. In a small shed on Le Monde Street in Paris, Marie and Pierre worked tirelessly. They processed tons of pitch-blende ore by hand, in primitive conditions, searching for an unknown element that emitted mysterious radiation. After years of hard work, in 1898, they announced to the world the discovery of polonium, named in honor of Marie's homeland, Poland. That wasn't all. Months later, the couple made another announcement that shook the scientific world. They had discovered a new highly radioactive element, which they named radium. It was at this moment that Marie Curie coined the term radioactivity, a word that would forever change the language of science. The excitement must have been indescribable as they held this mysterious and powerful element in their hands. She expressed her wonder with these words: "In life, there are no things to fear, only things to understand." This phrase perfectly captures her unbreakable spirit and determination to uncover the secrets of nature. But the journey to recognition wasn't easy. The marriage faced skepticism from the scientific community, which doubted the existence of these new radioactive elements. Yet their persistence and careful work paid off. In 1903, Marie and Pierre Curie, along with Henri Becquerel, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for their groundbreaking discoveries on radioactivity. She must have felt incredible being the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. But this was just the start of her legacy. After Pierre's tragic death in 1906, she took over his position at the University of Paris, becoming the first woman to hold a professorship at that esteemed institution. Was her work as a scientist done? Not at all. Radium still fascinated her. Marie Curie was deeply involved in a big project, uncovering the deepest secrets of radium, the mysterious element that had caught her attention since her days in that small shed on Lohman Street. With her usual determination, she focused on studying radium's properties, eager to understand it better. The years that followed were a whirlwind of research, teaching, and serving humanity. Yet, Marie remained dedicated to her quest, constantly observing every reaction, every glimmer of light, every hint that could unlock radium's mysteries. Her lab had become a sanctuary of knowledge, where she worked tirelessly, fully committed to her relentless pursuit. Meanwhile, the world was eagerly waiting for her research results. The scientific community, who had once doubted her discoveries, now acknowledged her brilliance and looked forward to every new revelation from her lab. And then, in a moment that would be remembered in history books, Marie Curie shared her groundbreaking findings with the world. She had managed to isolate radium in its pure form, uncovering its physical and chemical properties with unmatched precision. Moreover, her studies had brought new understanding to the very essence of this element, paving the way for advancements in the field of radioactivity. This discovery had a huge impact. The scientific community was amazed by Marie Curie's achievements, and the whole world admired her brilliance. That's when the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences made history. They awarded her second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry. She became the first person to win the Nobel Prize twice and in two different scientific fields. Her achievement was enormous, especially considering the widespread discrimination against women in academia at that time. Marie Curie didn't just break barriers, she opened doors for future generations of female scientists. But unfortunately, her life had had its difficulties. After this amazing success, she went through a tough time. In 1912, overwhelmed by her fame and facing public scrutiny, she withdrew from public life for over a year. She struggled with depression and kidney problems that needed surgery. But, let's be honest, she was tough as nails, forged in the fire of tough times. After that dark period, she bounced back with new energy, ready to continue her scientific work. In 1913, she dove into studying radium's properties at low temperatures, teaming up with the brilliant physicist Heikki Kamerlingh-Onnes on a project that promised to uncover more secrets about this mysterious element. However, war clouds gathered over Europe, and soon Marie's plans would be put on hold by a conflict that would shake the world. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 would alter the course of her life, turning her into a national hero whose impact would go far beyond the realms of science. Marie Curie dedicated herself completely to supporting the French cause in every way she could. She even tried to donate her precious Nobel Prize medals, made of solid gold, to help with the war effort. Although her offer was declined, her selfless gesture showed her deep devotion to the country that had welcomed her. However, Curie's true impact on the war would be in the field where her expertise was invaluable: radiology. Seeing the potential of X-rays to examine wounds and fractures, she came up with a revolutionary idea: mobile X-ray units, affectionately called Little Curies, which allowed doctors to examine injured soldiers right on the battlefield. Even though this idea was brilliant, Curie needed more support to make it happen: funding, more vehicles, and trained staff to operate the equipment. Frustrated by the lack of response from the French army, she turned to the Union of French Women. This organization provided the needed funds. Wealthy French women donated the vehicles that were used to create several dozen Little Curies, and Curie herself trained about 150 women to operate the machines. And she didn't stop there. Aware of the healing potential of radiation, she implemented the treatment of sterilizing infected tissues with radium emanations, a precursor to modern radiotherapy. Her contribution to wartime medicine was invaluable, making her a national hero and a symbol of hope for French soldiers. When the war finally ended, Marie Curie faced a new challenge: rebuilding her beloved Radium Institute, which had lost much of its equipment during the conflict. With strong determination, she organized a tour across the United States and Europe to raise funds and promote research in radiology. And she did it. Thanks to her tireless efforts and personal charm, she managed to raise enough funds to equip the Warsaw Radium Institute, ensuring that her scientific legacy would continue to thrive in her homeland. Looking back, her impact goes beyond her discoveries and awards. Her work laid the foundation for the development of radiotherapy, a vital tool in cancer treatment. Sadly, the price for her dedication to science was high. As she grew older, she faced health challenges due to her long exposure to radiation. At that time, the dangers of radioactivity were not well understood, and she had worked without proper safety measures, often carrying radioactive isotopes with her. Despite the challenges, she kept devoting her life to promoting research and supporting the institutes bearing her name, ensuring her legacy would live on even after she was gone. That's how she spent her final days, torn between her love for science and her public duties. Finally, on July 4, 1934, she passed away at the Saint-Célimos Sanatorium in Passy, France. She fell victim to aplastic anemia, a disease linked to her prolonged exposure to radiation. Her exposure to radiation was so intense that even her notebooks are contaminated with radium-226, a radioactive isotope with a half-life of about 1,600 years. Because of this, her belongings are considered untouchable today. In fact, one of her notebooks is available online so anyone can explore it without any risk. You can check it out if you want. I'll leave the link in the description. But that's not all. Her own remains were also extremely radioactive. For that reason, she was buried in a lead coffin. Can you believe it? Surprisingly, this wasn't discovered until 1995 when her coffin was exhumed and the radioactive nature of her remains was found. After her goodbye, Marie Curie became a symbol of female strength, determination, and love for knowledge. Her story inspired countless women to chase their dreams. And today, millions of lives have been saved thanks to advances in radiotherapy based on the principles she discovered. And that's the incredible tale of Marie Curie, a mighty woman whose legacy goes beyond time itself. If you found inspiration in the bravery of this trailblazing scientist, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. See you in the next video.